Yo, what's happening, my people? It's your boy Chris, and I'm back. This week, I kind of wanted to talk a little bit more about hands. Spent most of this week focusing on nothing but getting the hands right. And I think I have a pretty good understanding of hands, and I walked in with an okay understanding, but I really wanted to deepen my understanding on how the shapes connect and how to really exaggerate certain features of the hands, because I feel like my style it can get pretty angular and pretty sharp, and I like that. So I kind of wanted to see how real hands worked, and then I wanted to kind of sharpen the features I wanted to sharpen. And these are just kind of some tips that I picked up while practicing hands. So the first thing I did, I warmed up, man. I warmed up. So I did 100 or so hands just from the top of my head, and I hope that doesn't turn anyone off. I promise you there are going to be real tips, but I did 100 hands from the top of my head in my sketchbook first, just to kind of denote where I was at with hands. Where was I at with hands? This was also kind of just to practice in preparation for learning how they actually work, right? I think this practice method, it does help at least show where you're at. And you don't have to do 100 like how I did. I just did 100 because I'm sitting in a car shop lobby waiting for them to fix stuff on my car. So it's like, man, I might as well just take this out and do some sketches, right? And the time went, there's so much. Either way, man, I just had enough time to do 100. That's really what it comes down to. But you don't need to do 100. You can just do a couple or 10 or whatever, just to kind of get a baseline of where you're at, right? I did that. Again, it super duper helped me. I filled up 2 pages worth of hands. What that allowed me to see was where my weaknesses were at, where I was scared to kind of focus on, and why my hands, what made my hands either too flat or not expressive enough, right? And that brings me to my next point, or what the next thing I did, which was gather references, right? Which everyone should do, and I don't think that should be something I should have to say, but you want to have your references when you're starting to learn stuff, because that's how you increase your visual library, right? But yeah, man, you grab your references, and then what I started to do is I started to denote patterns in the hands that I see, shapes that I can identify and then lay down on the page, right? And there was a lot of shapes that I ended up seeing with hands that really helped me understand them a lot more. I'm seeing curved rectangles. I'm seeing upside down teardrops or mountaintops. I'm seeing spheres. I'm seeing trapezoids. I'm seeing all sorts of shapes within a hand. And understanding the interlockings of how all of those worked was kind of what I was doing. So I was just really trying to look at hands. Looking at your own hand is really good too. If you can understand, when you just look at your hand, and you really look at your hand, and you move it around, and you see how everything works, you can really actually lose yourself, because it's it's so weird that this is attached to me. It's so weird, but it's really cool. It's one of the best reference tools ever, So I also was looking at my own hand and how it would move in space, and that really helped me understand the shapes, that I would encounter when I'm drawing these hands. So the next thing I did was I did some orthographic view of the hand. So I would just draw hand straight on, right? And I really wanted to get really good at understanding the technical shape breakdowns of the hands. And I didn't do the super duper deep dive on the anatomical or the medical definition / labels for all of the tendons and wrist elements and all sorts of these highly technical terms for the hands, because I don't know, I like to learn like a 5-year-old, you know what I'm saying? Explain to me like I'm a 5-year-old. So I would imagine there are people out there who would appreciate that too. So I try to keep it pretty light and light on the vocabulary, and try to keep my vocabulary on teaching things to shapes and breaking things down into really basic components. Because that's what I did here, and then from there I drew some hands in perspective, and I was not doing extracurricular hand poses yet, because I wanted to just understand the structure and how they worked, how hands flexed, how they curled up, things of that nature, things that are fairly basic to draw, because then I would move on to actually trying to draw some more dynamic / really tough hand angles that kind of incorporate perspective. And that's kind of why perspective is really important too, because it opens up so much expression when you're drawing hands, in my opinion. And understanding how to draw basic shapes in perspective is pretty much how you would draw a hand in perspective. But it's a matter of kind of getting those reps in and understanding that, okay, wait, I see this shape in perspective. I know how to draw that in perspective. And then, just kind of connecting the pieces like that. So I did a lot of that. And it really helped increase my understanding a lot more on, just hands in general. Last but not least, I drew some hands grabbing objects, this sphere, this like yoga ball like sphere. This was really just to see how hands interact with certain things, man. I wanted to, also just depict a hand colliding, because like I don't draw that too often. And like hands, like they apply force, to whatever they touch and what they grab. So it's like kind of trying to show that more and being more intentional about that was like kind of the goal here. And it was really fun to kind of learn that, because surprisingly, I don't draw stuff like this, and it's like super basic to kind of, understand how to draw something like this. So these were really good exercises that I did that really helped me. And then, yeah, man, like from there, just I try to teach myself, so I tried to like teach it back to myself as if I were a 5-year-old. And I would like break down everything into like shapes, and that really just helped too. So all in all, these are kind of the things that I did to learn hands and to get a little bit of a better understanding. I don't like to just teach someone how to draw a hand, only because it's like, do you want to give the man a fish, or do you want to teach him how to fish, kind of a thing. I think in this case, teaching someone how to fish is like referring them back to the fundamentals of how to break things down into shapes, rather than how to break the hand specifically into shapes. I think that's going to help you go further, and it's going to help you apply to a lot more things rather than just hands, right? And it'll probably also in tandem help you develop a more 3D eye as opposed to a 2D eye, and help understand your stuff in a more 3D context, if that makes sense. So anyways, that's kind of all I wanted to talk about. These tips, feel free to follow them or feel free to not follow them. It's up to you. I really appreciate the support on the channel. We've reached 8K. You guys are amazing. I appreciate y'all. Y'all the goats for real. More art coming soon, more videos coming soon. And I will be posting the studies from this week, as always, on the community tab on Sunday at 12 o'clock p.m. EST. So, look forward to that. And yeah, man, that's about it from me. So I'm gonna go ahead and get off. I appreciate you guys for watching. If you want to support me, buy a Bing Bong t-shirt, or, actually even better, play the Bing Bong game. That's cheaper than buying a t-shirt. That's cheaper than buying stickers, Play the game. Let me know what you think. And yeah, man, we'll be back real soon in the next one. I'm gonna go ahead and hop off. You guys take it easy. Peace.